Hey, Family Room, I hope you're having a great week. I was thinking over the last few weeks about what happens in a junior high school or a high school where a friendship breaks down. I don't know if it's like this in your schools, but sometimes there's really close groups, maybe 5 or 10 people together in a group. And it's difficult for anyone else to enter into those cliques. They're so close, and once you're in them, you have these close and amazing friendships. But if you're on the outside, sometimes you can feel alone, you can feel isolated. One of the things I've noticed is that sometimes a group will break down for any number of reasons. It could be gossip, or it could be a falling out or a fight that's been in that group. And sometimes one person gets isolated. They get kicked out of that group, and you might see them wandering your schools alone, and you wonder, what happened to them? I thought they were part of this group, and now it seems like that group is not accepting them anymore or talking to them. Well, we might feel bad about those people who get kicked out and are isolated and maybe eating alone at lunch. But what happens if it happens to us? I mean, what happens if we're the ones that get kicked out for whatever reason, and we're isolated and we're alone and we're looking around for new friendships? But then we notice there's all these other groups that are close and tight-knit, and it's hard for us to break into them because they already know each other so well and they're not sure who we are. Well, I think the Bible, we can really apply it practically here. In the book of Acts, chapter 2, we see the early church meeting together daily. They were generous to the people around them. They had everything in common. They shared with people. They lived the life of Jesus. And because they did that, the Lord was adding daily to their number those who were being saved, the scripture says, those who were coming into a relationship with Jesus. Practically speaking, this means if we're living the life of Jesus in our schools, yeah, sure, people might think it's silly, we might be rejected, we might be isolated to some degree, and sometimes it can be a large degree. But if we're being consistent, if we're being kind in our schools, then if the worst thing happens and we get kicked out of our group of friends, then there's going to be all these other people that remember the way we treated them, even when we had a solid group of friends. And hopefully we won't be isolated. They'll remember, wow, they really shared the love of Jesus with me. They lived out their faith, and they were someone who was kind, someone who I liked to be around. And hopefully they'll open up their group and say, hey, come on in. Enter into a friendship with this group we have going on here. I want to encourage you in that, and study the scripture and see how else it can apply to your life this week.